Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you each and every day on the upper tier. If you could head out there, smash that subscribe and bell notification button on YouTube. And also, if you could drop a like on the video. And of course, jump in the chat and comment, let us know your thoughts on the subjects that we bring up tonight. And there's going to be an indifferent kind of chat tonight about Liverpool. Never have I not looked forward to as a match preview as this one. This truly is mission impossible. But this is your Real Madrid versus Liverpool preview. But we're also going to talk about a few topics first that have come up before we get into the preview. The first one being FSG. And we need to talk first of all about FSG in terms of their timing at the moment just seems to be at odds with the club, doesn't it, when you think about it? I mean, if you look at it, the transfer window closed, and then 2 days later they were reporting record revenue. Really got fans' backs up. Then, you know, they came out prior, just I think a day or two prior to the Real Madrid game at Anfield, talking about how it's not sale now, it's investment and all this kind of thing. Again, getting the fans back up. And this is not the first time. The detachment from the fans is unreal here. Now we're hearing today that they've announced that there's going to be a 2% increase in the price of tickets at a time where there's a cost of living crisis and people really struggling at the moment money-wise. And they see it fit that this is the time to drop an increase on them. And they label it, of course, on the fact that they haven't increased ticket prices for 8 years, and also the fact that the spiraling cost of running the club. I suppose there's different points on that, and I did get concerned at the spiraling cost of running the club, because when you had a look at what they reported, they increased their revenue by 100 million. But only made 7 million, I think, in net profit. I think it was, or gross profit, which is really poor return, in fairness, in terms of the extra. So it's no surprise. We know that we've a very high wage bill, one of the highest in the world. And I suppose a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have aged the squad up and hung on to players and stuff like that, which has caused this. Because obviously their wages, as you renegotiate contract after contract and stuff like that, obviously it increases all the time. But this is poor timing by them again. And if that wasn't enough to get people's backs up, this is on the eve of a huge European tie in Spain tomorrow night, 8 p.m. in the Bernabeu. This is what they're dropping on us. Then they dropped this, the Anfield Road expansion that we're all getting gassed and excited about, and increasing the capacity of Anfield and all. And we love to see the stadium being redeveloped and expanding and getting bigger, and the two stands are phenomenal and all this thing. But then we're hearing today, after 7,000 seats in the expansion, fans are only going to see 4,000 of those seats. So again, here we have FSG planning for hospitality, big ticket prices, borderline travel agents acting nearly like touts when it comes to the pricing of these things. It's absolutely disgusting. So this is the kind of news we want from our owners going into a huge European tie tomorrow. And listen, don't get me wrong, trying to win this game tomorrow night is mission impossible. It's a stretch. If it was to happen, it would be bigger than the Barcelona one. It would be unbelievable if it could happen. And we will talk about it in the preview, and I'll give you my thoughts on it and stuff like that. But this is not the information that we need when we need a fan base getting behind a team to try and pull them through a very difficult second leg, being 5-2 down and going into the cauldron. Dare I say, I spoke about it the other day, going up against Real Madrid for us now literally has become our European rivalry, or nearly our European derby, if you like, because we play them so often. And at times we've done well against them, but more often than not, they've been our Achilles heel. So the last thing we needed from our owners today was to drop this bullshit about the new redeveloped stand, and more bullshit about increasing ticket prices at a time where there's a cost of living crisis, where people can barely afford electricity, gas, or food. And now you want to lay it on them again. Instead of maybe going and looking at your cost base and see what you can do in relation to your cost base, instead of downloading the costs that you as owners have allowed to spiral out of control and drop it into the laps of the fans yet again, picking it up. Very, very disappointing from FSG. FSG out all the way. It's remarkable their timing. This is 3 times now they've put the build into us, in really, really important times in the season. And it's borderline disgusting at this stage. Absolutely disgusting. Another thing that got my back up today, Reds, and I don't know whether you say now Kyle's in there. How are you, Kyle? Kyle Gunnar Walsh. Big up, Niall. Looking forward to this, mate. Absolutely. This is going to be, this next one is going to be even worse, Kyle. Make sure you go over and subscribe to Kyle's channel, the realest, I say, from Wexford of Arsenal fans. And if you're watching any of Del Boy Gunner TV as well, subscribe to him and Warren's Team Talk as well. The post-match shows are fantastic. Shout out to the Prince and to Kyle and to Warren. Super content at the moment. Morris is in as well. Fans being priced out of everything these days. Ticketing across the board has gone way out of hand, as you know. I 100% know, Warren. I said it the other day. I'll just lay it out for anyone who doesn't know, and especially for any of our Liverpool fans coming from Liverpool. For me and Ben to go and see a Liverpool game, it's the guts of 1,200 quid. And that's not because we shop excessively in Liverpool. That's match tickets, maybe a sprinkling of a little bit of hospitality, ferry and train, sail and rail, and your hotel, and some food. And that's really it. The odd time we'll go into the mega store and Ben will pick up something, maybe a retro jersey or something like that. It's not excessive. It's most of the stuff he has. But that's what it runs me, about 1,200 quid. It's really, really expensive. That's to go see a game. So this is why I laugh when I hear about, fans talking about proper fans. It's laughable. Absolutely laughable of the investment. And we tend to travel over 3 to 4 times a year. So ratchet that up to nearly $5,000 in a year that we invest on going to games. And that's only to 4 games. And that's disposable income. And this is a cost of living crisis. And here we go again. And we know that if the prices are ratcheted up at the turnstile level and the box office level, then they're going to ratchet them up at the tourist level and the operators levels as well. So be prepared, Liverpool fans. Going to be watching a lot of Liverpool on TV as opposed to being in the stadium. This other thing that got my goat up over the last couple of days as well. As you know, we did a match reaction to the Bournemouth game, which was extremely disappointing. But then listening to some of the quotes that went out there, was absolutely crazy. It's not even cheaper, Morris talking about cheaper to go to European away games. It's actually not, Morris. An away game's going to run you 400 or 500 quid just for the ticket. It's crazy, man. The whole thing has gone ballistic. And especially, you'll see it next year, Morris, yourself and Kyle, if you're looking at Champions League games. Be prepared. The pricing, once you start getting that bit of success again, the pricing just goes through the roof. It's crazy. But yeah, some quotes came out after the game there the other day that have really kind of fucking grind my gears and pissed me off. And I wanted to have a chat about it. Essentially a quote from Trent and a couple of quotes from Jurgen. And something that we probably want to debate about as well. Something that John Aldridge just spoke about. And the one thing I do like about John Aldridge, I'm not saying he's always right in his assessment, but what he is he's very real in his assessment. And he doesn't hide behind that veil of being associated with the club. You can be guaranteed if something needs to be said or called out, Aldo is your man to call it out. So let's have a look at some of this stuff. We start off, first of all, this picture in the corner here. You can't rely on Bietic as an 18-year-old to play every game. That was from Stuart Downing. This is something we've been talking about all season, that for large portions of this season, we've been relying on 18-year-olds to carry this team through. And because they're 18-year-olds and that cliche saying, learning their trade and stuff like that, they're going to have great games. They're going to have poor games. This is part of the learning process. And unfortunately, what's happened this season is earlier parts of the season, Harvey Elliott was carrying the team, young lad. Then since Stefan Bieta just come in, he's been carrying that team in midfield at times as well. And it's shocking for a team like Liverpool, the level of Liverpool, to be getting carried by a couple of 18-year-olds. Really, really poor. And I spoke about it on so many podcasts. I don't have to go into detail on this. But let's look at some of these quotes here and give me your thoughts in the comments. Call back in again, first of all. Morris, I can't get tickets for Leeds, mate. I can't even get tickets for any game for the rest of the season. Sorry, Bob. That's no surprise at all, Kyle. I mean, once you're on the verge of a title and stuff like that, you want to see the prices for the last 3 games in the Premier League. And if you're at home the last game of the season, good Lord, the price. You'd need to donate a kid nearly to get a ticket. But let's go through these quotes anyway. What can I say? It was never really our game. It was never really our game. We were dominant in the first half. Absolute bullshit. We were dominant for about 15 minutes. But mostly we put the ball in at the wrong moment against a compact side. Okay, so we knew that once they scored anyway, they were going to get very compact. And they were compact anyway. So we knew that was going to happen. That's nothing new to us. That's what we should be preparing for. And certainly we went in a half time knowing all this. And we came out in the second half and nothing fucking changed. So where's the coaching? Where's the analysis? Where's the tactical plan? Where we know all this at half time and yet we let it drag on for 90 minutes. And quite frankly, it's unacceptable. And a lot of this that's being said here is unacceptable, certainly at a fan level. For fans of Liverpool to travel down to the southeast coast and spend the money that they spent on that away game and be in full voice for most of the game as well. And for this team to perform the way they did, and for these players and coach to come out and quote this absolute bullshit, flies in the face of these fans and the dedication they have to this team. This is unacceptable. These quotes after games have been ongoing all season. Absolute crap of the highest order, right? Let's see the next one now here from Jurgen Klopp. The game was pretty much the opposite of what we wanted to show and to do today. Okay, it was like that after 45 minutes. Same bullshit second half. I think we played for pretty much 95 minutes the game Bournemouth wanted to play. Oh, did we? How come we didn't change it after 45 minutes so we could put in 45 minutes and play the game we wanted to fucking play? This is so fucking frustrating. So frustrating to read. And a few minutes, maybe. A few moments we did the stuff we wanted to do, actually, yeah. Those few moments where towards the end of the game for about 5 or 10 minutes and the first 15 minutes of the game and the whole body of the game in between, they fucking did their business and we didn't react to it. And once again, we seen one change at halftime when we were deplorable and 2 changes on 65 minutes. Doesn't even bear fucking thinking about this crap, right? Here's John Aldridge, and let me know what you think about this in the chat if you're in there, or if not, if you're watching on the replay, let me know in the comments. But of course, hit the like, okay? Liverpool legend John Aldridge, and I love reading Aldo's stuff, and not because he's Irish, because he just keeps it fucking real. John Aldridge reckons there is now a debate to be had about whether selling Mo Salah would be a good idea after his below-par performance in the Reds' 1-0 loss to Bournemouth on Saturday. Now, you never judge a player, of course, by one game, but certainly the Bournemouth game looked like one of his poorest performances of the season, without a doubt. Well up there, at least in top 2 or 3, was never in the game and was quite shocking, and the penalty was just an absolute joke. The less said about it, the better. But let's talk about that for a minute as a debate. He's been way off the boil. His goals and his assists statistically look pretty good. But if you're a fan who watches Liverpool week in, week out, he's been way off this season. Way off where he normally is. And that's not even up for debate. And anyone who debates that are absolutely, they've obviously never watched Mo Salah pre-AFCON. So certainly there's a debate to be done there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save these shows as a debate, and we're going to do them during the international break. We're going to be talking about Mo Salah. We're going to be talking about Virgil van Dijk, and we're about to talk about Trent. And this really boils my blood as well. If Mo Salah coming out, nothing to say after the Bournemouth game. Absolutely shocking and we've no one to go in there instead of him. An absolutely shocking performance, and nothing to say to 500 or 1,000 travelling fans who made it all their way down to the southeast coast to follow their team, to pony up that kind of performance was shocking. Now here's Trent, and this one really boiled my blood. This is the time of the season when everyone knows what they are fighting for. Well, everyone doesn't know what they're fighting for, because you were fighting for a top 4 spot and you didn't bother your bollocks. So let's get this right. And obviously Bournemouth are in a relegation battle. That's right, and we're in a battle for top 4. So they are fighting for survival, and we're fighting for survival to stay in the Champions League, because we capitulated against Real Madrid 2 weeks ago, and now we're fighting for a top 4 spot, and we're fighting for survival to stay in the Champions League. But every team in the league is fighting for something, so it means a lot to get the 3 points. It certainly does, Trent. It certainly does. And I think looking back on it now, they probably wanted it more than us. Let that sink in. And if you're a travelling Liverpool fan who went to that Bournemouth game, let that quote sink in there. And I don't give a shit how much you love Trent Alexander. I love Trent Alexander. I love all the Liverpool players, and I love Liverpool Football Club, and I love Jurgen Klopp. I love all that, right? But just let that sink in. If you're a travelling fan down to that game, and there's a lot of fans down there would have spent a lot of money to go there, it wouldn't necessarily be in face value. It's quite the trip down there. Most of them might have even spent the weekend down there, probably looking forward to a really good performance on the back of the United one. And it was a shit show. But they wanted it. Let that sink in. But Bournemouth probably wanted it more than us. Bournemouth Football Club, bottom of the league, wanted the 3 points more than Liverpool Football Club, who just pumped United 7-0 and who were in a top 4 race and had an opportunity to go into fourth and put the pressure on Spurs. Didn't want it as much as Bournemouth. Let that sink in. And that is something that is unacceptable. It certainly is unacceptable, and it's been unacceptable at a number of games this season. Forest, Leeds, Brighton, Wolves. Need I go on? Need I go on? Every single team that's been in the bottom of the league and needed points rocks up to Liverpool and goes 1-800 Liverpool, and I have 3 points to stay in this relegation battle, and we oblige every time. We need to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen again. We've heard that before, Trent, haven't we? That's an interesting one. We could roll that back. I could roll that back through about 20 match reactions at this stage this season. And it's unbelievable. Here's the quote that came out this week. Liverpool go from sublime to the ridiculous in 1 week. So there you go. So this is what got my blood boiling today on the eve of a huge Champions League fixture. And I couldn't let it go. So then what a difference a day makes. What a difference a day makes. We get them coming out going, we still believe. Trent talking about how there's a belief in the team going to the Bernabeu, and that they'll go into the game believing they can overturn the deficit and make it to the quarterfinals. And I hope they do. I want my team to win. I want us to stay in the Champions League, because this is it. This is stare in the mirror and the devil's looking back at you, and this is last chance saloon for this team. Last chance saloon. Because if this team thinks that being in a top 4 race is what Liverpool Football Club is about, it's far from it. Far from it. This has been a disgusting season. Disgusting. And then we talk about the man, Virgil van Dijk. The man who thought that the way to defend was to hand the defender off to a fullback who was on the far side of him and didn't capitulate it again. And just, we talk about United last week giving up and stuff like that. What about Virgil van Dijk giving up the other day? What did he come out and say? Nothing. Travelling fans. Nothing to say. Tumbleweed. It's absolutely so frustrating. Right. Now that I can calm down and have a nice drink of Volvic water. And we're going to talk about this preview. So it's 8 o'clock tomorrow night at the Santiago Bernabeu. And we're going to be going up against Real Madrid, who I said already are our rivals in Europe. And it feels nearly like a derby the way we meet this team so much. But if we talk about the first leg, 5-2 to them, an absolute capitulation. Got 2 goals ahead, got a steam up. Had a couple of other chances, didn't take them. And I really believe if we had taken a third or fourth chance, we might have ripped the heart out of them, and this could be a different discussion. But again, this has been the story of Liverpool Football Club this season, not taking chances when we've had opportunities. But going out of the Champions League tomorrow night will absolutely leave the season in absolute ruins. And I don't think in the history of the Premier League or in the First Division has there ever been such a monumental drop-off in terms of last season going for the quad and this season now and only marginally missing out, and this season just being an absolute roller coaster of a disaster. Huge peaks and very, very low troughs. And I just wonder, are these players on the same page? I see that they react and they give their comments and stuff like that, but do they truly believe, like if you look at Saturday's game, do they actually truly believe and understand just how shite they were? And I don't know whether they do or not. So this is the huge mountain we have to climb tomorrow night. 5-2 to Real Madrid. My man, Morris was back in. Mo has to go, Niall. Poisoning this great club. His time is finished. Certainly a point that 6-8 months ago I would have argued with you about. Now it's very, very hard to argue about it. Henry's in. Check out Henry Ray Baker's channel. How are you, Henry? Good to see you, man. Hi, chat. All good. So let's talk about this preview. We're going into the lines then, as they say. We've got to score at least 3 unanswered goals to bring it to extra time and maybe penalties, or we've got to score 4 unanswered goals to go through. Now, can this team do that? Is this team capable of doing that? 100%. If the team that showed up against Man United and doesn't cough up the chances that they coughed up to Man United in that game as well, can they do it? Absolutely. Have we seen flashes of this great team this season? At times we have. But the inconsistency is what concerns me when it comes to Liverpool at the moment. And this could either go really, really well tomorrow night, or this could be an absolute horror show of biblical proportions where you could see an aggregate score that could be very, very, very embarrassing. Henry back in. Finger first. Sorry, Noel. I'm okay. Good. And our resident ref is in. Hala Madrid. Marky, no need for that. No need. I'm hurting enough as it is. After the news today and these bullshit quotes, I'm hurting enough as it is. Don't hurt me anymore. Henry in. Got a podcast at 9 tonight. Cool, Henry. Enjoy. I'll say, can I drop by? I might be finished at 9. I have a pro wrestling one at 8 o'clock, by the way, folks, on Dynamo's Dozen. Check out that channel and drop a sub over there. We'll be talking about the road to WrestleMania 39. We'll be discussing Brock Lesnar potentially facing John Jones back in the UFC. We'll be discussing the Hall of Fame and all things pro wrestling. Always a fun, banterish type of show and stuff like that. And Henry, our under-19s lost today 1-0 to Sporting. The ref was dreadful. The level of refereeing is dreadful at the moment, Henry, no doubt about it. And Henry, going to be talking about autism. Oh, nice. Interesting. If I don't catch it when you're on, I'll catch it on the replay, my good man, if I don't get finished with the pro wrestling one. So, this is a huge game for us. This is a game changer, dare I say. I think we have to start out very, very careful, very, very tight. I don't think we can get driven by the fact that we need 3, potentially 4 goals. I think what we should do is go into the game, keep it tight, maybe try and pinch an early goal and let the game evolve from there. But don't go helter-skelter at this from minute 1, because they will put up a score that will embarrass every single red on the planet. So that's what we have to be careful about. If you look at Champions League form at the moment, Real Madrid, as we said in the group the group stages, struggled a little bit. Their form hasn't been great in La Liga, so they have 4 wins, a draw, and a loss in their last 6 games in the Champions League. But of course, the last win was the 5-2 against us at Anfield. Absolute embarrassment and capitulation. Our form up till that game was really good in the Champions League. We had posted 5 wins on the bounce. But as often when we come up against Real Madrid, it's just different gravy, isn't it? And that's where the problem is. If you look at team news at the moment, no major issues for Real Madrid at the moment. Benzema was a doubt, but Carlo Ancelotti, big Carlo today, confirmed that he is fit, healthy, well, and looking forward to the game. For us, as you know, Luis Diaz back in training, but we won't see him probably to the City game. Give him another 2 weeks to get him going and stuff like that. Really looking forward to seeing him back. Thiago still out. Calvin Ramsey, again, the hologram, the Ben Davis of the signings, still missing. Gomez is back in training, I heard, but can't see him being put near this game or the City game. And Keita, funny enough, is a doubt. No surprise in that. So if we look at the possible starting lineups, Real Madrid, Courtois, of course, mad that first game, wasn't it? When you think about it, 2 world-class goalkeepers coughing up those mistakes. Imagine the bet you would have got on that. Carvajal is in there. Militao, the man who left Trent Alexander-Arnold staring at him as he ran across the box and headed in that goal. Rudiger's in there. We know him well from his Chelsea days, an absolute hardened baller. Nacho's in there. Modric, Tchouaméni should be back for this game as well. That's going to be interesting. That's a serious midfield. Modric, Tchouaméni, and Cruz is in there as well. Valverde, Benzema, and Vinicius Jr. That's a potent team in there at the moment. Now, again, they haven't been lighting up La Liga. They're well behind Barcelona. And we know Barcelona knocked out by United in the Europa League. So maybe there is hope that when we go over there that they may think at 5-2 that they're cruising. If we could get an early goal, might get a little bit nervy. If we could get a second unanswered goal, might get very nervy. If we were to get a third one, who knows what might happen. And who knows if we could grab a fourth on a corner taken quickly. Núñez would be absolutely fantastic. But this is dream world for us, because the truth is going over there, and I hope I'm wrong tomorrow night on the match reaction. I hope I'm really wrong. The truth is going over there. I don't see us being able to keep a clean sheet. I just don't see it. Ian's in. What's the crack, Niall? All good in. I'm sure I'll see you on Dynamo's dozen as well on the hour. And our resident ref is in. I think if you score first, it makes it slightly game on. But I just feel Madrid will win 3-1. Not trying to upset you, because no, absolutely. And I think for us to keep a clean sheet over there is going to take a miracle. I mean, you can see at times the way we're defending. And even in the 7-0 when we beat United had chances. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes these things don't really tell the tale of the actual game. Our possible starting lineup, and again, I haven't heard anything. The gaffer's on at 8 o'clock tonight giving his pre-match press conference, so I'm not sure what we're like injury-wise. I know Hendo might be a doubt. I heard Bietic might be a doubt. Good Lord, what sort of midfield are we going to churn out? But this is what I came up with earlier and stuff like that. So obviously Alisson in nets. Hopefully he doesn't cough up on tomorrow night. Konate and Van Dijk stay in there. And let's be honest, after that Bournemouth performance, I mean, if we'd 11 top players who win there, we'd nearly play a different 11, wouldn't we? Really, it was just shocking. And this is symptomatic of where we're at. That you can go to a Bournemouth game, play so bad, and your name is still on the team sheet then for the big game. None of these players who performed on Saturday at Bournemouth deserve any place on this pitch on Wednesday. But unfortunately, because of the squad and everything else and the lack of investment and the stagnation of these things, we've no choice but to play them. Let's be honest here. So Alisson and nets, of course, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk and Robertson at the back. Fabinho in the holding role there. Henderson if he makes it. And it looks like he may deploy Jota in that midfield role again. Now, I hope they worked hard on this since the Bournemouth game, because this is an interesting one for me. Because I felt when Jota came on, he brought a little bit of energy, but he's not really a midfielder. And the problem for that is I think it exposed us a little bit, and I think that's where Bournemouth at times got a little bit of a foothold in the game in that midfield. I think he likes to drive forward and stuff like that. And if he drives forward, looking at that layout there, then there's going to be that huge gap there to the left of Fabinho, and that's a real concern at the moment, you know. So I'm not sure if this is what he's going to deploy. It'll probably be a different formation as well, of course. And then, of course, you've got Núñez, Gakpo, and Salah up front. Again, as I would say, after that performance on Saturday, if we had an option at that level of world class, we would whip Salah out of there and put a different player in, because I just think his performance was shocking. And this has been the story of the season. Rocking up, not performing, giving some bullshit excuse after the match, and then you're in the team 3 days later. This is what happens, and this is not the way it should be. It shouldn't be this way at all. But that's kind of the starting 11 for us that I've gone with in a kind of a haphazard way. That's the other thing I was concerned I meant to say when Jota went into midfield as well. I think the team, when we made the changes, got a little bit confused about what formation we were playing and what way we were trying to line up and stuff like that. And they just, at times on the pitch against Bournemouth the other day, we just looked confused in terms of the formation and where players should be and all. And it just became a clusterfuck at times. And that's what's happened this season. Lots of times this season, subs have been deployed from the bench, maybe in some sort of a tactical approach, I don't know. But the players look bewildered when they're on the pitch then. They're not too sure what's being expected of them or where they should be. Had a look at the betting, as I always do for you. And of course, we always use Boyle Sports for our odds. Madrid are 6-5. The draw is 11-4, and Liverpool are 9-4. I think that's very short odds for Liverpool, considering it's mission impossible, and it's going to take a heck of a task to go over there to even get anything out of the game, even at 5-2, to get anything out of the game at all. To come, to me, if they showed up and they put in a performance and came away with a draw alone tomorrow night, that would be a huge improvement from what we've been seeing. I think there will be goals in this game tomorrow night. I think we may score first, but I think Madrid will bite back. But I think we could get a high-scoring game. I think it could be open. And I'm going to predict, this is a wild one, but I'm going to predict a Liverpool 3-2 win. Certainly not enough to go through the quarterfinals, but maybe a way of saving face slightly from that 5-2 defeat. So it'll be a 7-5 aggregate score for Madrid going through. But Liverpool 3-2 tomorrow night, which would be huge in the Bernabeu. But I have to hold on to those little shoots of positivity that this team will rock up. It's Champions League. It's last chance saloon. It's do or die time. It's you can't look at the game next week. They've no other games after this until the 1st of April against Man City. 3 massive games coming up that week in terms of the top 4 race. I think we're going to need to get points out of those 3 games in order to stay within the top 4 race. City on April Fool's Day, Chelsea midweek, and then Arsenal and Anfield. 3 really, really tough games. Probably maybe get 4 points out of that, but who knows? But this is last chance. This is look in the mirror and the devil look back at you. Let us know your thoughts in the chat or in the comments on the replay. Hit a like as well on the replay if you're looking at it. And of course, always subscribe and hit the bell notification for when we go live. This has been your Champions League preview. Real Madrid versus Liverpool, Bernabeu tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Massive game. 2 heavyweights going in here. This is Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua of European football. Massive game. Unfortunately, a diluted scoreline from the first leg. But we will give it our best. I'm hoping the boys go out there and put on a performance and this doesn't become an absolute embarrassing shit show altogether, like the way this season has gone. That there's a bit of pride in them and stuff like that. And then we kind of have to ask ourselves, if they go out and perform tomorrow night, what the fuck was that Bournemouth? Back in as well. Fans takes the stand to clear David Moyes' name off our Family Guy episode. Absolutely. Louis Van Gaal was not a bother. We all make mistakes when we're talking about stuff. Back in. People of the jury, I was wrong. Now I stand before you corrected. On that episode of Family Guy, the man's name is Louis Van Gaal. Yeah, absolutely. Not a bother. We'll catch you at 8 o'clock on Dynamo's Dozen. Don't forget to check out that if you're a pro wrestling fan. Myself and Eno will be over there dropping a little bit of knowledge on pro wrestling, giving our thoughts on the latest news. We take a look back at this week in pro wrestling history, and we'll be dropping some notable birthdays. Until next time, folks, I will be back tomorrow night, probably around 10:15, 10:30, depending on how this game goes. Who knows? It might go to extra time and penalties. Let's see what happens. But I'll be back in around 10:30. I will post it up on StreamYard. You'll see it on the channel this evening or tomorrow. Enjoy the Champions League action tonight. Man City in action against Leipzig. Let's see, can Pep get into the quarterfinals? It's 1-1 at the moment. Let's see if he can continue his European journey with Man City this season. We will see what happens. Until next time, folks, an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being in the chat. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you real soon.